Hey everyone, so here is my family presentation video following my summary, and now I'm going to turn the computer around to my friends who chose to be my clients today. So hold on one second. There they are. Okay, so the purpose of this video is to be kind of my family presentation video, but I chose to do a roommate scenario. So previously, we already went over confidentiality. We already went over the basics of these sessions and how many sessions we were going to have. So this is going to be based on 6 sessions, and we've already had 1. So this is a roommate situation that I'm going to let them explain. So I will let one of you, whoever would like to choose to go first, explain your side of the story.
Oh, fabulous. I will gladly go first.
Awesome.
Okay, so last week I get a text from her saying that she's moving out at the end of the month. It's probably like the first week of the month, so that gives me 3 weeks to then find a roommate, which also, let me just mention, is in December. So the roommate would be moving in right after Christmas. Highly convenient for everybody, obviously. And I've been trying to talk with her for weeks about the problems that have been happening over the last few months. But every time I am shut out and she just pushes me away, never gives me any time to talk. And I have been trying to work on this, but apparently I'm too much of a partier and she doesn't want to be involved in that anymore. And so she's just over it and over me and has no care in the world to want to talk it or ever work things out, clearly.
Right. Okay. Well, it sounds like you're frustrated.
Yes,
and it sounds like you've really tried to reach out to her and talk to her about the whole situation. So, other roommate, would you like to explain your side of the situation?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to better myself. I'm sorry if that offends you.
Sorry, I'm such a terrible person that you have to better yourself.
That I need to be away from your partying to better myself. I'm working on me. Is that really that big a deal? I gave you 3 weeks to find a roommate.
Yeah.
I can't help that it's around Christmas time.
You could.
No.
You could. We only have 5 months left with our lease.
I can't help when I need to change myself.
You haven't been home the last 3 months anyway, so it's given you plenty of time to work on yourself.
Okay. All right. So I sense some anxieties and some frustrations here. But I wanna kind of narrow this down a little bit, and we'll go back to number 1 roommate here. What do you see as maybe the most important issue that you guys are having right now at this moment?
Communication.
Communication. Sure. Okay.
I communicated with you. I sent you text messages letting you know. That's communication.
Then you won't talk about it with me in person until this very second because I dragged you here. Otherwise, we would still be texting and just communicating via that. Which is how you'd prefer it, obviously.
Yeah, it's working.
Clearly. Yeah. That's why we're here.
Okay, so to kind of let's try to veer towards more a positive side of things. Right now, let's talk about I can really see that you guys have some issues going on right now. And I know that in our first session we went through like a overview and a summary of some deeper issues you guys are having. I know we've talked about both of you guys struggling with a little bit of anxiety and just your personalities clashing. But if we look at the positive sides of things, what do each of you see as maybe just at least a small strength in your friendship? Maybe from the past or even right now, just something small that we can look at that is positive and that's a strength in your friendship.
I guess she always has been there for me.
She has been my longest friend.
We'll see, and that's a good start. And that does show that, you know, there is something positive there. There is something to build on, but maybe right now we just need to work through some other issues. Does that sound like that's a good plan for you guys to work through these issues and build on that, at least, you know, one strength that we can notice right now?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Would you both try? You think you both would agree with following up with these next few sessions and working with some sort of a treatment plan and some goals?
Sure.
Do you think we
try anything?
I think I'd be willing to try that.
Okay. All right. So one thing that I reviewed for myself after our first session was a particular model or theory to kind of work with you guys. And the one that I chose is task-centered practice. So this kind of a practice model I think will be really good for you guys because it's going to help establish some goals that you both want to see happen. It's going to help establish some clear expectations, which I think is really good for any relationship. And I think, what do you guys think about establishing some expectations? Do you think that that would help you guys out a little bit more, especially when it comes down to communication?
Yes.
And then also looking at some like obtainable outcomes. So like in the future, what can we see you guys, like, can we see you guys thriving as a, friendship? Can we see you guys still as roommates? And then also it's going to allow for both of you to put your input in and see what each of you individually and then together as friends or roommates desire for your future together. So does that sound like clear an explanation for that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So a small treatment plan that I came up with for you guys, since we only have 6 sessions. I did want to focus on like the whole anxiety thing a little bit and just bring that into play and come up with some goals and some objectives that will help keep your anxiety low while working through with this, if that sounds good to you guys. And then also just working with both of your personalities and taking that into consideration. Is it okay if I go over these goals and objectives with you guys?
You're gonna do it anyway.
Yes, I am. So, for goals, I set up 4 different goals. The first one is going to be these are all if you agree to them. So I'll give you some of these tentative goals. We'll call them tentative. The first one's going to be some individual journaling 2 times a week. So that'll give you a chance to sit down by yourself and write out your thoughts, write out all your feelings, write out all the issues you feel like you guys are having together at least 2 times a week. And then we'll bring those back each session and go over what you want to go over from journaling. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. And the number 2 is going to be more of a creative goal. And it's going to be to set up like a small whiteboard or a chalkboard in your apartment and to maybe leave notes for one another to boost the communication level. Because I do know that one of you guys mentioned that communication was one of your main issues that you have been struggling with. So I think in doing that, that'll help you guys, like, hey, I'm not going to be home tonight, or hey, my other friend's coming over tonight, or hey, let's do dinner tonight. It can be positive, or it can just be like, hey, heads up, I'm really upset today. Just some way for you guys to communicate and not necessarily be face to face, so that you still have that communication piece, but you don't have to worry about confronting each other and maybe it turning into something else.
So like checking in with my mom.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, if you want to see.
She does the non-confrontation very well anyway, so this will be easy for her.
All right. Well, we'll see how it works. We'll see how it works. And obviously, like, if we start something like this, you don't have to continue on with it if you don't see that it's working. If either one of you don't see that it's working.
Probably won't.
So the number 3 would be spending an hour weekly to sit down and have a no judgment kind of conversation, just honest conversation to build up some new trust between one another and to obviously work on communication. That can be done with me in the sessions. Obviously, if you guys want to do that outside of sessions, feel free to take that upon yourselves if you feel comfortable.
I don't have a judgment issue, so
otherwise we would just be meeting with me or your therapist to work through those conversations each week, and we will have 6 of those. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yep.
Okay. And then the last one I put down would be individual counseling, if you guys are up for that. I know one of you guys has mentioned to me that you already are doing individual counseling, and if the other one would like to do that, you couldn't come to me just because of confidentiality and like crossing relationship lines, but we could definitely sit down and talk about referring out to another counselor and just finding someone else for you to talk to by yourself instead of doing more of like a family kind of setting. And that's just another option for both of you guys. Do those goals sound pretty clear to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. And the next bit I wanted to go over was the objectives that I had come up with. Just kind of an overview of some outlooks for you guys. And that was just and this is pulled from our first session, and some things that you've said today go along with it. I came up with 4 of those also. So number 1 is definitely improved communication. I think you both agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
And number 2, I said understanding the strengths of your friendship, which is something we hit on in the very beginning, and you guys did come up with the strength for each other, which I think is great. And so just understanding those strengths, finding more than one strength and building on those strengths. Number 3 is just rebuilding trust, rebuilding your friendship. And number 4 is just maybe finding that individually finding another accountability partner or a counselor, another therapist, if you feel the need to, obviously apart from myself. So some intervention techniques that I wanted to also walk through with you guys, because I think it's really important for you guys to know like what I'm going to be using to work with you guys, is just I really want to focus on individually for both of you to think about focusing on the counseling portion. So taking as much as you can from this family type intervention, this family type setting, and taking as much as you can from this counseling setting. And then also from the journaling, since that's very individualized. I'm just helping yourself work through these problems and helping yourself understand what's going on and get your feelings out on paper so that you can come back and talk about it. And then some relationship techniques that I came up with for under the intervention portion is just going to be to focus on being as honest and real that you can with each other. To utilize maybe that communication board or just some techniques that you're coming up with for communication just to help build that communication back up and build that trust back up. And then also just once again for your relationship, just taking as much as you can together from this counseling. And we're going to be doing it 2 times a month and then 6 sessions total, which I think is what we previously had talked about. So is the 6 session thing still okay with you guys?
Yeah.
I think I can make that work.
Okay. And so I know last session for the portion that I have to do just for the sake of my counseling and just understanding if I'm really making an improvement and if I'm really helping you guys at all and empowering you guys at all. I know we took a pretest the very first session to see where you guys were at with each other. So that's going to be a part of the evaluation process. It's going to be kind of a scaling thing. And so you guys took like a small little quiz, little survey the very first session. And the very end, we're going to take what we call a post-test, just another little quiz to see if anything has improved, to see what I can do better. And then also for evaluation, I'm going to have you guys bring back your journals each session. And we're going to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about that you've journaled about. Do you guys think that you would be open to bringing in those journals if you choose to do the journaling?
I guess so.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So if you guys would want to follow through with that, if we want to do the journaling, then I think that would be really helpful in helping you guys communicate during the session and for us to really see what some real issues are for you guys individually and then both as friends. So does all of this intervention and evaluation, all the objectives and goals, does it all sound clear to you guys? I can also give you guys a copy of these and a breakdown of these goals and objectives if that would help at all.
Better give her one.
Copy would be helpful.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
So after this session, we're going to have, I believe it'll be 4 more sessions. And obviously during each session, every single thing I say to you and every single thing you say to me, all of it's going to be confidential. I'll never be able to share this with anybody. And, outside of your friendship, I can't tell any of your friends. I can't tell any of your family, no matter what, unless you threaten to harm each other or harm yourselves. And I know that you guys remember that from the first session. We talked about that. I already went over the goals and objectives. I know expectations you said were big for you guys, and just, learning to communicate, learning to build that trust back up and to help your friendship out and, hopefully to stay roommates. And I just want to ask you both again, do you think that your main goal is to stay roommates, or do you think that your main goal is maybe just to end things well and to not be roommates anymore? What do you guys both think?
I honestly think at this point it's probably better to just end things.
Agreed.
Okay, so end things friendship-wise, or are you looking more positive for the friendship side of things, or just end things roommate-wise?
End things roommate-wise.
Okay.
From my perspective.
Okay. And that's totally fine. Whatever we got to do to just get you guys in a good place for both of your mindsets. I do encourage you guys just to try and stay on the positive side of things, just to try and stay and focus on your strengths, both as individuals and try to see some strengths in each other, just so you guys can end this roommate thing well, if that is your main goal. And that may change, which is totally fine. So I'll definitely be giving you guys tools. I'll be giving you guys copies of these goals and objectives. and they may change, and I'll be able to give you all these things and print off all these things that you can have hard copies of stuff like that to help you throughout your week when we're not actually meeting on those days. So does that all sound pretty good to you guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess I'll see you next time.